Hey everyone, it's Alex, and today we've got a brand new featured location video where I'm going to be featuring 5 unique decks. 3 for Pool 3, 1 for Pool 1, and 1 for Pool 2 as well. Now, based on the feedback I've been getting from the community, I've decided to keep these decks relatively straightforward and minimize the number of Series 5 and 4 cards, with the exception of one that I had to absolutely use. With that being said, we have the Altar of Death, a brand new location that when you play a card there, you destroy it and gain +2 energy that next turn. It's actually quite an impressive impact on the game state. It's a really impactful location, so you do want to build for the next 2 days with this in mind. For those that are new to Marvel Snap, basically a featured location will be for the next 48 hours, and you have a 40% chance to get the location. It's also very important to note that you generally can't go 100% all in on a featured location, because that means you're just going to lose the 60% of the games that you don't have it. So it's very important you have a functional deck that will actually just work without the Altar of Death, but when it is there, you actually get to take advantage of it. Now let's talk about the 3 Pool 3 decks. And the first list we're talking about today is the Electro Destroy list, which is kind of like a symbiote between traditional Electro ramp and the destroy mechanics that you can take advantage of with the Altar of Death. Essentially, the way it works is you have the Hood and Deadpool, which allow you, if you have it in your hand and you have the featured location, you're able to hold them and then play them into that featured location, and essentially you could borderline skip Electro and Wave and just ramp into the White Tigers, the Captain Marvels, the Arrows, the Dooms, Odins, and eventually the Leader. Basically, it allows you to get free optionality on how you want to approach the game. Generally speaking, I found myself holding Hood and Deadpool until all 3 locations were revealed. If I didn't see the location I wanted, which was the Altar of Death, and I had Killmonger, I could play on turn 2 the Hood, and then play on turn 3 the Killmonger and wipe the Hood, get the thing, right? Or if the Altar revealed itself, we could play Deadpool into it and start ramping up our mana, play the Hood into it too, ramp up the mana, play Captain Marvel, Doctor Doom, and whatever, and get our combinations present. Now, the nice thing I like about this deck list is that oftentimes the Altar of Death represents a location that can be hard to get power in, because when you play into it, things get destroyed, so you have to access it through other means, and one of the ways you can do that is via Captain Marvel. You can also access it with White Tiger, who can utilize a Tiger Spirit to get in there and add some power. That's why Doctor Doom, Odin, and the White Tiger combination can end up putting a ton of general pressure on the board, while your opponent might be trying to ramp up using the Altar. They can't really contest the Altar itself, because every time they play a card there, it just gets destroyed. So this list does provide a lot of utility. It's a kind of list that you would really only play during this featured location, because afterwards, the Hood and Deadpool Killmonger synergy feels really awkward, and you would never really want to play like that. You'd want a traditional Electro-based list, but for the time being, it's actually a pretty cool combination, and I do include a gameplay example of me piloting this, where I originally actually used a Jubilee, which I ultimately found was very unsuccessful in this list, because with Jubilee and ramp-based lists, you really kind of don't want to play it that way. Generally speaking, though, Jubilee was interesting because you could play Deadpool on turn 1, get the Deadpool back, play Jubilee on turn 2 because of the 2 additional mana. It was an interesting card, but ultimately I ended up deciding on this particular version of the list. Alright, so I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Alex, how lazy are you that you're just showing us another She-Hulk Deathwave list? Dude, you show us Deathwave lists non-stop. Every single featured location, Alex, you're like, just play Deathwave. Yeah, that's because they've all really been focused on destroying things lately, and Deathwave just benefits completely. This deck list has a traditional feel of Deathwave, so if you've been playing Deathwave, you know what's up. I don't have too much to say. The major synergy here is the Sabretooth. Sabretooth, at turn 3, you play it in, you get the 2 additional mana, allows you to access more powerful cards, but most importantly, Sabretooth becomes a 0, and you can just keep feeding it into the Altar for free, ramping up your mana, and then on turn 6, you can drop it where you need it. Sabretooth becomes free real estate, and it's not just because I paid an egregious amount of money for this variant that I want to talk about Sabretooth. It's because Sabretooth is actually good in this given location. Deathwave, I mean, there's nothing else to say. It's just good. It's always good, and this location's no different. Alright, and here's the third Pool 3 list, and this one admittedly is a little more experimental, because essentially you do have the armor, which allows you to straight up just counter the Death Altar, whatever, you know what I mean. It gives you a chance to actually counter it altogether if that's what you want to do. But also, it just plays good stuff, and you play Iceman, which is disruptive, you play the Scorpion, which is disruptive, you have Maximus Cosmo, Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's actually really valuable here, because there's often going to be situations where when the feature location is present, people have a hard time playing into it, and that's why you have Vision, that's why you have Nightcrawlers, to give you additional access to that location as required. However, Rescue is going to be valuable because you're often playing out of 2 lanes because it's hard to play into it. Also, Shang-Chi is valuable because people are ramping into very large cards, getting Death out early. People are playing Hulks. It's craziness right now because people are able to get to 6 drops very fast. So you're able to play Shang-Chi much more reliably, especially when you're only really playing in 2 lanes. It becomes a 50-50 on the Shang-Chi on turn 6 if that's what you want to do. Magneto's just pure value, also very disruptive. But at the end of the day, what you want to do here is you want to get a board state advantage. You can even play Leader into the altar, destroy the leader, but then match whatever they play on the sides, right? So it's pretty interesting how you can actually pilot this deck to some degree of success. I had some success testing it as well, but still, I was still tweaking it, but I had to film the video eventually. So this is a list I still want to tweak and play around with a little bit. But if you're looking for an experimental kind of like value-based list, this is one you can try. All right, Pool 2 gamers, I've got you an experimental Pool 2 Jubilee Altar of Death list. And basically what this does is it has Sunspot armor so that you can win one of the given locations, of course. A Coccia to set up value for your vision and the other cards that you're eventually going to pull with Jubilee. That's right, this Jubilee list utilizes Jubilee to good effectiveness because you play Jubilee into the altar. Jubilee dies, gives you 6 mana on the next turn while also pulling a 6-cost card. Potentially a 6-cost card. We try to go a little heavy here, but the nice thing is you could Jubilee, you could pull someone like Chavez, and then you can play someone like Hulk on the next turn because of the 2 additional mana generated from Jubilee. This deck also works if you don't have that feature location because it's just a greedy-ass Jubilee list. So it's pretty good. I like it. You also have the opportunity to access location with Nightcrawler. You got the armor to just counter it straight up. But ultimately, it's a pretty neat list. All right, my Pool 1 gamer friends. Don't worry, I've got a list for you too. And while this looks like a pretty standard Khazar Blue Marvel Onslaught style list, there's a couple things that are important and it's worth noting for you to be able to synergize with this particular list. Now, first thing is, in terms of the Altar of Death, you could play something like Squirrel Girl into, that's not Squirrel Girl, this is Squirrel Girl, and then you have obviously value on the squirrels on the other side. You can also play Squirrel Girl into one location. The squirrels don't get destroyed because they're not technically played. They get buffed by Khazar Blue Marvel Onslaught, of course. You can straight up counter it by playing armor, but most importantly, you can reach into it with Mr. Fantastic. You can run into it with Nightcrawler, or teleport into it, I should say. And you can also play Mr. Sinister, and the Mr. Sinister will itself get destroyed, but the clone will remain on the location. So you have a couple options here as to actually accessing the location where your opponent, who maybe is not watching this video, won't be able to access it appropriately because every time they play a card, it just dies. And maybe they have a Squirrel in there with a 1-power squirrel. Maybe it gets buffed by Khazar, but you got the Mr. Sinister. You've got the Nightcrawler, and you've got Groot because Groot is just an awesome card right now. It just got buffed. It's a 3/4 now. It's so less risky. And the nice thing about Groot is that when you play Groot and you're playing Altar of Death, they're really only playing out of 2 locations because they're likely not playing onto the Altar of Death on like turn 5 or 6, or even on turn 3 for that matter. So you are able to better kind of like predict their movements, and maybe Groot's a bit of a gamble, but still, hey, we're here to have fun, right? He's going to play the Hood. Is that why he snap? He plays Sunspot in, buddy. You're snapping on me. I played Hood. You played Sunspot. Settle the hell down, bud. Altar of Death played. We don't have Shang-Chi here. I think we have to give Gamma Lab. Do we give Gamma Lab? I could play Killmonger into Gamma Lab. No, I can't do that. I think I do this. He's going to play into it again. He has another Sentinel. I allow him to do so. We do have a turn 5 play with White Tiger, which is fine. We have the Odin. We have the combination we want. He does play the Sentinel as predicted. So either way, even if we did Killmonger, he would have been up, which is fine. We get the ability to play the Demon, though. Altar of Death would have been a play too, but whatever. Could have given up Demon, but I'd rather have the combination. So, given our circumstances here, we're going to White Tiger. The gameplay, like the game is kind of simple, right? White Tiger, Doctor Doom, Odin. I don't want to not play Altar of Death, but at the same time, I think we can generate way too much value here, especially on the additional turn. Because we have Doctor Doom. Like, let's be smart here. We have Doctor Doom, we Odin, and we Demon. The problem is if you can't play a card here without it dying, right? So that's very important to note here. Okay. That actually is regrettable, because I could have sent that thing back and possibly won that with a 16 power play swing. So that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Odin's 8 power. Damn it. We fill this location. There's a chance he outtrades us here. Yeah, we can leader mid. Feels gross. He plays one card, we win, yeah. Feels bad. Winning with leader feels bad. But you know what? You got outplayed, son. It's funny, we didn't even use Altar of Death that much based on the way the deck worked, but I actually really believe in this. I really think that, specifically with featured locations, not so much the hot ones, but featured locations, I really think it's better to like build a deck that works and then takes advantage of the featured location if it's there. But going all in aggressively on it feels terrible. Because if you get a situation where like you don't get the featured location and your deck is stupid, then you just lose, right?